reference the material, I'm going to send that link out after the webinar, probably next week, next Monday or Tuesday, so you will be able to go back and listen to the webinar or share it with colleagues. We will not be taking questions today. We're going to present the information, and then again, you will get that email if you have any questions. You can submit those through a support request to Doug will go over that a little bit more when he speaks here in just a few minutes, but specific questions can be submitted through a support request. And we offer lots of Intelliplex services and training classes, so in that email you'll get some contact information, and please let us know if you're interested in any further information or further training on Intelliplex. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Karen Patterson.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ruthie. So I'm Karen Patterson. I am an ERP strategy consultant with Revolution Group, and actually have been working with Plex and with probably most of you for many, many years. Have watched Plex grow from really being a Plex on Earth application to Plex Online and all of the amazing functionality that we're seeing all the way up here to the Intelliplex Analytical platform. We are, in my role here at Revolution Group, I have a role now to help to make our customers successful for the long term. And so as a part of that, as we come across tools and such that we just believe we want you to know about. If we were passing you in the hallway, I would stop you and say, hey, have you had a chance to look at this? Have you had a chance to work with it? Because it's something new, and it's something that will really enhance your experience with the Plex platform. So this is our first webinar on that. Plex has been talking about the STARS for a while, and certainly Intelliplex for a while, and sometimes that can feel just like words that it's hard to keep up with when you're trying to do your regular job as well. So our intent today, this is very, very 100 level. So if you were on our call today with some question about currency conversion or time zones, or something that is more of a detailed question that you're hoping to get answered, that certainly is not our intent today. Our intent is to make sure that you've had the opportunity to lay your eyes on the tool set, to know the next steps that you can take to be able to get yourself headed down the road with this product. And just to give you a little bit of a jump start to head that direction. Now, you've heard of Intelliplex for a while now. The STARS piece that has been added is really a piece that's been put in place to take this from being a tool set that was designed for people that needed to have some programming or some analytics background, to being a tool that me, the regular user, can use to at least get some pieces of information that I need and be successful in the tool set. So Doug's gonna help us through that today. For those who, I think everybody knows Revolution Group for the most part. Again, this is our customers on the call that were particularly interested in making continually successful with the product. But Revolution Group, we are a consulting firm. We are located in Central Ohio, and actually we've grown quite a lot. We have 18 or 19 consultants on our team in our manufacturing ERP services team. We focus on PMC, Plex Manufacturing Cloud deployment. We do optimizations of deployments that have been in place for a while to come back and do a refresh or a rethink for customers that we have deployed, and also customers that were not deployed by us. You probably know that we were one of the first partners and one of the only partners still that can do custom development and integration to Plex. We do have the capabilities with our development team to get our code promoted to the production server so that it can run on the production server. And this custom development includes VisionPlex screens, processes, also Intelliplex and Intelliplex dashboards. So if you get into some more complex scenarios and are looking for some help with those, we definitely can help with our consulting team. In addition to our manufacturing ERP services group at Revolution Group, we also provide technology services, which include managed IT services, IT project management. We can host services for you, and we actually can play a virtual CIO role if you're looking for some support in your networking and hardware areas. And being a cloud, with a cloud focus, we also have a Salesforce CRM services practice where we can do system implementation of Salesforce. We also are very, very involved with the Plex integration process between Salesforce and Plex. So I want to introduce you today to Doug Woosty. He is a consultant on our ERP consulting team. And he happens to focus in the financial area, but with 30 years of financial and manufacturing experience. He is a PMP certified professional with a comprehensive background in system implementations, business process review, and also works as a project manager for us. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Doug.
Thank you, Karen. Today I wanted to go through, and as Karen said, this is kind of an overview of the Plex Analytics tool that they introduced last fall. The tool is available, and one that you may not be aware of, simply because it's, you've been using Plex for some time now. They continue to expand the data warehouse and add more and more functional areas and data to the data warehouse as it goes. The way we're going to do this today is I'll walk through the presentation, and at the end I'll go through a live demonstration of building a report. So the Intelliplex Analytical Platform tools kind of designed to be able to quickly create reports and graphs to help you analyze your business. And within the data warehouse, Plex has created these series of functional areas and the details that go along with those areas. And those are called domains and stars. And the nice thing about the domains and stars is that Plex has built the connections between all of the common elements so that creating a report really is as simple as kind of drag and drop functionality. The query for the report or for the chart is kind of built behind the scenes, and so you don't really need a deep understanding of the Plex tables and the Plex database structure in order to make these things work. Intelliplex is different, or I'm sorry, the analytics tool is different than regular Intelliplex in that it's going against sort of a data warehouse as opposed to going against transactional data. And again, if you are going against that transactional data, you typically have to have a deeper understanding of things or kind of a developer's background. So one of the major benefits of having these things linked and summarized in the fashion that they are is that it is very easy to kind of quickly pull the information and build these reports over kind of a traditional Intelliplex. And because these linkages have been pre-built and optimized, the reports themselves run much faster than you would see in a typical Intelliplex environment. So literally in a matter of minutes, you can create a report within the analytics tool and see your results. The data within the data warehouse is refreshed each night from the first report server refresh after the PC ends midnight. So at this stage of the game, it's not instantaneous. It's not the near real time of the report server, but it is refreshed on kind of a daily basis depending on where your PCN is located. And the other nice thing about this is that it currently it works across the PCN. So you have the ability then to see a broader range of of your data as you're building these reports. As I said, at this point, Plex has introduced several functional areas. They started out in the financials and then introduced sales and order management, and just recently introduced the production domain. And on the roadmap is the purchasing domain, inventory, and human resources. So I wanted to discuss a little bit how the analytics data is structured so you get kind of a sense of how this works. So each of the functional areas, again, those are called domains, they contain the stars, and the stars are the elements that have all of the pre-joined data. Each of the stars then has a set of measurements and dimensions built into it, and those dimensions and measures are the pieces that you pull across into the reports, and as well, you can use filtering capability to refine your reports and charts. The dimensions often include additional details or a further breakdown of it. So if I'm looking at the part dimension, I'm going to see things like part number, part type, part name, the statuses, those sorts of things as well. So I can report on those pieces separately. As I mentioned, they currently have stars out there for finance, sales, and order management and production, which was released a couple of weeks ago. And within the production, you have container, production efficiency, inventory valuation, production, work center log, and job. So how do I get to the tool, and how do I see whether or not I have access or my data is loaded out there? So getting to the data warehouse, you basically go through your Intelliplex startup page, and that's located within the node for Intelliplex is located in the Business Intelligence module. And to see whether or not your data is there, it's basically you're looking for the existence of a folder called Analytical, and to tell that you are doing kind of acting as if you are beginning to create a report. So you're right-clicking on the company name, you're saying new report, and the second box that's going to come up is going to be the one that's kind of displayed here in the lower right-hand corner. And if you see the Analytical directory there, then your data is being loaded to the data warehouse. So Plex will load all of this data, but they're not going to load it until you ask for it. So if your data is not there, then you basically need to submit a USR with the subject of load my data, and make sure that in the description that you're putting in there that it's a first time, and listing out all of your specific PCNs. There are no additional fees for the new platform, and we'll talk in a moment about the developer's license and the things that are necessary in order to create these reports. But actually access to the data warehouse itself is at no additional fee. And the other piece that's nice about this is that any of the Intelliplex content that you've have already developed isn't going to be affected by adding data to the data warehouse. So there are a few prerequisites or requirements in order to be able to build these reports. First is that you need to have the Intelliplex Builder Security role, and that's assigned just basically in the role security, the security role section within Plex. And as well, you have to have a builder's license. So the builder's license, you can tell by going into the Business Intelligence menu and pulling up builder's licenses, and you can see how many you have and who those licenses are assigned to. If you need additional licenses, then you really need to contact your Plex Customer Success Manager, and they can help you out with that. One nice piece of this as well, though, is that after you create these reports, you can email them through a distribution list or link them into Plex so that you can pull the reports within within Plex, and those activities don't consume any sort of a license. So it's really just the creation aspect of where you need the builder's license. So in order to create a report, again, I basically go to my Intelliplex startup page, and I right-click on my company name and say New Report. And that's going to bring up my analytics folder, and that folder then has my breakdown of my domains and my stars. So you choose basically the star that you're interested in building the report for. So, as I mentioned, each star has the dimensions and the measures that are already part of the star, and those are labeled in easily understood terminology. So it's very straightforward to look at these, and the typical business user can look at this and understand what it is that the data that they're trying to get to. So creating a report really is as simple as navigating through the fields and either double-clicking on those or dragging them over to the report pane. And once you're satisfied with what you've got, you can click the Run button to execute the report. So I've generated my report. If it's not exactly what I want, then I can just kind of back up to my report screen and either add or remove fields. And if I want to, I can click on the columns and move them left or right. Just drag and drop those in between the two different columns. So, and just that quickly, you can see that it's easy to build a report. Now that I've gotten all of the elements on the report that I want, maybe I want to narrow those things down a little bit and look at a sort of a subset of what I've pulled across. And the tool allows you to build those kind of filters. And again, it's as simple as either right-clicking on the field or dragging the field into there's a little filters pane on the left-hand side. And then I can build my conditions, against your typical operators, and I can do that against constants, parameters, or fields. And when I'm all said and done with that, and I'm satisfied that, I basically click my Save button on my filter and run my report again, and I'll get my filtered output. So I'm satisfied with my report now. I want to kind of save this thing and move along. I basically hit the little save icon in the upper left-hand corner and save my report to my content folder. Okay, so now I'm happy with my report, and it gives me the information that I want, but I also want to see this visually. So I can transform a report into a chart simply by going to the Home tab and selecting what it is that selecting the chart option up at the top. And that what selecting the chart option does is it basically then takes all of the elements that I've refined and put into my report and moves them into the query pane down in the lower left corner, so that so it's attempting to build a chart that I'm after based on those elements. But as that goes, I may not like what I'm seeing, so I can go to the Format tab and I can switch the style of the chart to be something that better presents what I'm after. And as well, in kind of the lower left corner of the page, I can adjust the way that the different pieces of data are coming across. So, I just basically can make the changes to all of those things and then refresh the report and run it again. So in my case, what I was interested in looking at was really, I wanted to see an example of, the parts produced by an operator over a given period of time, and I wasn't really interested in, from a charting perspective, of seeing things like part number or, the report month or part name, any of those sorts of things. So I can pull those pieces out of there. And after I've done that, then again, I can just refresh or run my screen again, and I've come up with, something that's a little bit more representative of what it is that I'm after. So you can see I did this chart basically segregating it between 2015 and 2016, and I'm just getting my my produced quantity by my different operators for that period of time. So the reports can be run in a variety of formats. So I can do that in HTML, Excel, PowerPoint, Adobe PDFs. And another feature is called active reports. And active reports are really kind of self-contained reports that are designed for offline analysis. So they have built into them all of the data and all the JavaScript that's necessary to run that active report. And again, I just simply change it to an active report and run the report. And what I get then is what you'll see on the screen is that now I have a report that has some additional capabilities and features to it. So I can interact with it, I can filter, I can sort, I can chart some of the data out here. I can work offline with this data. I can save it to a separate file and don't need any kind of plugins or other external programs in order to do that. All right, now I'm happy with my report, and I want to maybe share this with either my managers or my other staff members. The tool gives you the ability to email the reports that are created within the Intelliplex out to a distribution list or specific email addresses. So I right-click on my report out in my main startup screen and say Schedule, and then I choose my distribution box in the center of the pop-up that comes up, and I can enter in my information either on email or like I said, a distribution list. One other nice feature is that I can make these reports accessible within Plex, so they will show up in my reports menus that I'm doing, and there's a few steps in order to make something like that happen. First, I need to take that report and put it into a directory that Plex is seeing. So in my example here, I've got one out there called AA STARS, and that directory is something that has been published so that Plex can see that directory. As well, when I move that or copy that report into that directory, I also have to publish it so it can be seen by Plex. And then adding it to the report is, you do that by basically going into the Manage Intelliplex Reports node and activating the report. And once I've done that, then I can, if I'm looking through all of my Plex reports or Plex reports in a particular module group, I can search on that, and you can see that it will come up, and clicking on that is going to execute the report and give me the output right there. And again, the active reporting piece of it works, so now I'm looking on the screen and I have the ability, above and beyond just running the report within Plex, but also the capability then of taking that and doing some additional work and some activities against that. And when Plex created these stars, in each of the stars they've generated sort of a starter set, if you will, of reports and charts. So each one of the stars contains at least one report and at least one chart, and while you can't edit those things directly in the Plex examples folders, it's very straightforward and very easy to copy that over to your directory, and you can make edits and modify it as needed, or just if it's exactly what you want, you can run it straight from there. So where do I go to find out more information about the Intelliplex Analytics tool? Obviously, you can go to the community. It's a good source and a good starting point. And actually, within the Intelliplex startup page, there's a link to the Plex community. And that's going to take you to all of the posts that are in the business and analytics section of the community. Last October, when the tool was first introduced, Plex did a webinar on the finance domain, and that's about an hour long, and it's definitely worth perusing if you've got an hour's worth of time. Also on the start page, there's a link to the Intelliplex reference guide that gives you some of the basic steps that we've kind of walked through here today, and that you can reference and see some examples on how to do some of that. So with that, let's go ahead and do the demonstration. So again, to kind of get to my Intelliplex screen, I'm going through my business intelligence module, and that's going to bring up my Intelliplex startup page, and I'll just kind of navigate through the process of creating this report. So again, I right-click on that and create a new report. And that's going to pull up my listing of my stars and domains. So there. So for this demonstration, what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a production report, again, that gives me the number of parts produced by an operator for 2015 and 2016. And once I'm done with that and happy with that report, I'm going to turn it into an active report and then go into Plex and link that up so that it's there and can be run straight from Plex. So I'm going into my production star. Trust me, the reports run faster than this.
Yeah, adding GoToWebinar on top of this stuff definitely slows things down.
Okay. So again, on the left-hand side here, I have all of my measurements that are there, and I have all of my dimensions as well that I'm interested in. So, all right, I want to start out by looking at my parts. I'm going to want part number. Simply double-click on that. Part name. I want to see my operator that I'm going to be doing this, who's doing the work. So I want their last name, and again, I can kind of drag this over and drop it, as well as just double-clicking on it. I want to report on my current year, or pull my year information into there, and I also want to pull in my report month. And the thing that I'm interested in reporting on is my produced quantity. So then I simply run my report, and I have my output. That's not exactly what I'm after. So I go back to my report, because I want to start this out. First of all, I want to see it by the person's name, so I can drag and drop that over. And I also want to build a filter on this, so I'm only looking at 2015 and 2016 data. So I can, as I said, either right-click on that, or I can just drag and drop that field into the filter pane, and then it's going to bring up my condition editor, where I can put in what I'm after for on my filter. So in this case, like I said, you can build this on fields, you can build it on parameters, but I'm interested in just some constants, since I know exactly what I'm after. So I'm going to put in 2015 and 2016. Click OK. Click OK again. Now that that's done, I'll run my report again. And you can see now that I've gotten it filtered and organized in a way where I have the individual's last name appearing in the first column, and a part number, part name, and I've limited this then in order to down to 2015 and 2016. So I'm all happy with that. I want to save this report, and so that I can publish it within Plex. So I'm going to go into my content. And I'm just going to call this my star report 1. So now I'm back out at the Intelliplex main startup page, and I can look at the reports that are in my content. So you can see that I have star report number 1 here. I simply want to cut and paste this, or copy and paste this into my stars directory, because I know that that directory has been published within Plex. But you can see, maybe a little hard to distinguish, but star report 1 is kind of gray because I haven't published that report yet. So I right-click on that, publish that report. Now when I go into Plex, I've got another instance of Plex here that I'll start up. I have a menu item here called Manage Intelliplex Reports. And when I open that up, I'm going to see a list of not only the directories, but all of the reports that are out here. So you can see right here I have my AA stars, my star report number 1. Click that to activate it and update it. Now that it's saved, I can go out to my Plex reports. And since I've not moved this thing around, it's still in my business intelligence section. I'm just going to search on my reports there. Oh, I forgot to make it an active report. Oh well. But at any rate, you can see then that just clicking on that, in the Reports Manager, brought it up as a report accessible right within Plex.
To go ahead and make it an active report and
Sure.
save it again. Save it as an active report.
So in order to do that, I'm coming back up here on my home page, say, okay, I want to make that an active report. And I run it again. And now, shouldn't have to do any sort of linkages again. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'll save it as a new name. Oh, I don't know that I saved it. Okay, let's try this again. Never go off script.
You have to link it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I need to publish it too. So let's refresh my screen to get it in the list. And there it is. I'll add it to and update it. Not sure what happened there. I'm going to search my reports that I have in my business intelligence module group. Here's my STAR 2 report. Now you can see that it's an active report. So again, I can do additional things to this in terms of either filtering it, making calculations. If I had some of those in there, I can do some basic charting in here as well. It's not nearly as robust as the chart type of reports that I can create actually within the tool. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward, pretty quick and easy to create a report and to manipulate it around and then hopefully be able to get at kind of the data that you're looking for to help you with your business.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Doug. Just to recap a little bit, as I mentioned, these are things that if I had the opportunity to pass you all in the hallway, these would be the things I'd be pulling you aside and say, hey, did you see? I want to make sure that you are aware of these toolkits because even just watching Doug do a simple report over one star and within the toolkit, you can see that you have a tremendous amount of capability now to get at your own data, to take a first pass at creating your own reports. If you need a download, if you want to distribute this data, these are all things that we've never been able to do in Plex before. And now, of course, what Doug touched on today, as I mentioned, is 100 level. And I know that we have people at all different levels of capability on this call. My intent was to make you aware and to let you know that this is really intended to be a self-service tool. Plex does have some training classes and resources in the community for you to use to learn the tool set. But if you're looking for help with specific questions, for those of you that we have support arrangements with, we absolutely, we've got a development staff here, and we are absolutely, looking forward to the opportunity to help you with specific questions on STARS. You're going to get started in STARS and start to build some reports. You're probably going to run into some walls. Maybe there's some data missing or some functionality missing or something that you just want more information on. Please just put in a user support, and we'll be happy to get somebody to either get on a call with you and show you how it's done. That's how we work. Or if we do have to get Plex involved, we can help go down that route as well. If you don't have a support arrangement with us, just shoot Molly an email or myself an email, and we'll see what we can do to jump on and help you with questions there. Because our goal really is to make this a very successful and beneficial tool to our customers in the Plex community. We do offer, just so you know, we do offer a comprehensive 2-day Intelliplex training class that did not previously include STARS, but it does include STARS now. So this would give you the tool set that you need to be able to use Intelliplex even without STARS, and then we include STARS as well. So I thank you all very much for your time today, for letting us, share this excitement with you of this tool set that you now have. Feel free to reach out to Molly or myself if you have any questions or want additional information, even if it's just help trying to find more information within the community. That's what we're here for. So I hope you watch for additional webinars that we're going to be putting on as we go through the course of time, as we find cool tools. Might be Intelliplex, might be functionality within a certain module. Who knows? We're just, the things that are exciting to us, we're going to start bringing those out to our customers on a regular basis. So thank you very much, and have a good afternoon.